here's the thing, you get people, I'm sure, that come to you and you offer them solutions and they still are stuck in the old paradigm and just can't see why or find this to be too expensive, things like that. How do you go about trying to explain this type of approach to people that have the skepticism and don't yet want to leave probably the paradigm they've grown up with?
I mean, it's thank goodness, like when you're when there's very few of you around, most of your practice is referral, right? So
Yes.
that message is already like, go see this guy. What does he do? Don't worry about it. It's like turn your
Right.
meta, like this is a problem. Turn your problem like you're too into the problem,
Yeah.
right? Like you're making yourself sick. We know this. Like probably the best example of this is infertility. If you track your ovulatory cycles all the time, you stress yourself out. You look at your IVF, like you're doing like you are never going to get pregnant, right? Because you're in order to get pregnant, you need to be in a relaxed state to even ovulate. And so that's not going to happen if you we know this. Focus on it, you focus on it, you focus on it. So there's very few like people anymore, doctors that say, turn your condition over to me and turn yourself off, right? Because you are causing a problem, right? We knew this in psychology, like you are making yourself sick, right?
Mhm.
Like, why are you making yourself sick? Why? Like, if I hire a plumber, I make a phone call, I want to be done with it, right? Like, that's it. I don't want to know everything. Every tradesperson hates that. You're looking over their shoulder, you're telling them how to do plumbing, and they're like, I need you to get out of here, right? And that I feel so good when you turn a problem over. And I think there are very few people now that you can turn your health over
Mm.
with any. And I think that's the problem with trust. You turn your disease over, but you don't really turn your health management over. Like my portfolio, I want to turn this over to your clinic, Jasper, and I want you to handle this. And all you got to do is just tell me what I'm supposed to do. Like my financial advisor tells me what to do, and he
Yeah.
says, stay out of it. Don't go ahead and monkey around. Don't move this around. Like, and there's like humans like need that. We have enough things to worry about where you need to turn over your health condition to somebody with some expertise and tools and then get out of the way. Right? Like you doing things, my athletes, they don't want to know like what they're supposed to. They want to know how they're supposed, and then I train them and we do these things, and then they're just going to go do their craft. Like they need to do it in the most relaxed way. We all know this. If you do your thing in the most relaxed way, you'll get the best results. So I think like these clinics that we have, which are very few, and again, more and more in medicine is getting into telehealth and out of it, but there's very few people that have 100 patients that they really manage their longevity,
Mm.
right? And our stuff is results, right? Like
Mm.
people come here and they walk away and their business cards and they go and they say, what did you do? And they're like, I didn't do anything. They did. I just followed what I was supposed to do, which is what medicine was supposed to be. I wasn't going home and then my doctor gives me something. I go home, I search on Dr. Google, I find out all the ways that's going to kill me. I go back to my doctor and say, nope. And then I'm in like two divorced parents, I'm in a fight. Right. And then I'm like, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to go to Whole Foods and I'm going to take 15 herbs that are going to do the same thing. And so again, it's just all by, and then unfortunately, nothing ends up happening. And we end up like without this something like longevity and performance that's being tracked, that you're really like building biology. You're really building something. Other than that, it's practice, trial and error management. So I think more and more people are getting enough health information that hopefully they're so noisy that they're like, oh, geez, like you're bringing your accountant this suitcase of receipts. And that's what I look at that lab reports at. You bring them all there and you're like, man, I'm done with this hobby, right? I cannot track this. And you'll think you can for a while. And then you realize like the next test isn't quite like you thought it would be. And then pretty soon you're like, I need to pay somebody to do this. So the expense part of it is always interesting because I'm like, what if you were paid for every hour that you were on the internet searching your health condition?
Right.
Like, what if you were paid a fair wage? Like, what if somebody said, I'm going to take that away from you? Like, what would that be worth? And they'd be priceless. And you'd be like, well, why are we talking about this $1,000? Like, why do you want to do this then? You're trying to do it yourself, costing yourself more money. If your disease is a hobby for you, fill your boots. Right? And
Yeah,
some people it is. It's like
it
some
is.
people like they want like some people like that's their identity. But if it isn't, or if you want to live for a long period of time and not have something to worry about, hire somebody
Yeah.
and hire them every year and be happy. Like that's your financial advisor that you are at 80 going to look back at your portfolio and be like, freedom, right? We always talk about financial freedom. It's like, well, you paid somebody every year to attain that. Don't worry about the price because you'll be very happy when you're 70 and don't have to worry about the things that other 70-year-olds.
Mhm.
And you'll say, because I have them every single day that say, that was priceless. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it is. It's your greatest investment. So you better make it, or else you're going to be looking at it, some kind of a different future that you're not going to like.
Yeah, I feel like a big part, if anyone's listening, whether biological medicine is right for you or not, like number one, you have to ask yourself, do you really want to get those results? And do you not base yourself in that identity? You're right. I see so many patients that just live in the forums as a Lyme patient, as an MS patient,
Yeah.
and just go back and forth of the pity party in some ways. Not to say that's, the bad thing. Sometimes that's part of the journey as well. But if you
Okay.
stay in that, you're not really looking to get rid of that identity. That is a part of you, and that's something you hang on to until you're ready. And then you could jump into this type of medicine that acts on removing that identity and coming back to your healthy state. But a big second portion of that is understanding that there must be trust and there must be some faith in the process. You're handing over the keys in some ways too to the doctor, and that's different. A lot of times, that when you go into something new, it's very hard to give trust when you've already been betrayed time and time again by the conventional side of things. You've gotten worse. It's been years, and then you end up in this, what is this European biological stuff? Oh, it sounds good. I heard someone got results there, but I don't trust anybody anymore. How
I
do you
mean,
change that around?
right. Like, because you said, like, medicine, doctors and lawyers used to be the most noble professions, and now everybody
Yeah.
hates doctors and lawyers, right? So,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
you're always battling. It's hard when you sit, and it always is like when you go into, and I, great empathy, right? When you go across from a medical professional now, and you're trying to lay out your health story in 10 minutes, and they're on their computer,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait a minute, in 10 minutes, you're not going to be able to match the amount of information I got from my computer. And it's like, look, it's just his research or her research against your research and their attention span against your, like, you're all in on this and they're in for 10 minutes. And I don't blame that. And you look around and you're like, well, like, how are you guys going to solve this problem if you just send me to Walgreens? Where's your, like, if I go to the mechanic and he shows up with one wrench, I'm like, like, how you going to fix that with a wrench? But if I walk in to, when we say this biological, there's nobody that comes to clinics like yours and mine that walks in and says like, oh, I've seen all this stuff before. It's like, no, 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 no. The process is different. The treatments are different. So now you can relax because you're in a different place. So when we're talking, like, people say, well, will you do medicine? I'm like, yeah, I guess I'm a doctor. So we do medicine, but it's not the medicine that you think. So
Mhm.
drop that at the front door, right? Because you hate medicine, but you only hate it because you're frustrated with it. If you were in a rollover car accident, you would love medicine because I'm telling you, that would save your life. So, like, we have to temper our expectation to say they don't have the tools to fix what your problem is. So you should be frustrated with this, but understand that when you walk into somewhere and you see like this whole thing is different. So, like, you can be different too as a patient. And
Mhm.
then don't live in the forums. Like, we're not trying to be in the forums. Like, are you a Lyme doctor? I'm like, no, I never wanted to be a Lyme doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Do you treat Lyme disease? No, I treat people. Yeah,
Yeah.
people like have problems. Like, so yeah, we end up getting people out of forums, but it's a very comprehensive therapy, and it's comprehensive because it works. Right? If
Mhm.
something's simple, then you break your arm, put a cast on it. It's pretty simple. You have some chronic disease. Nothing about that is simple. And if you want longevity, nothing about that is simple. So go to a specialist or an expert, but the expert has to have tools, right? In order to get results, you have to have things to get the best results. And I think medicine's it's getting out of that again. Like it's losing all its stuff. And there's on the benefit side of it, there's a bunch of people that are getting more educated. So it's gonna meet somehow, right? It's gonna be kind of a catharsis of like, where can I need to submit to this and just find somewhere and some places where I can go that just do this for me.